Let's go play in traffic. Let's go remind our clients we're here as a resource. Let's call some of the people that said no to us and see how they feel about a conversation today. Let's remind our COIs that we're here to help people. They need a conversation.
Hi, it's Coach Joe Lucas, and welcome to the Magellan Network Show. My goal inside of this communication, this show, is to share with you my nearly 30 years of coaching some of the most successful financial advisors in North America. We're going to be talking about strategies, syntaxes. We're going to be bringing guests on from time to time, and I'm going to share with you what's working now. So think of this show as sort of like a little one-on-one kind of mini coaching cast, if you like, where we're going to be going in depth from time to time on strategies to help you grow your business, get more effective, become more efficient, find balance in your time management, grow your business, and quite frankly, whatever else is going on in the world today. So before we get to today's episode, I'd love for you to do a couple things for me. Number one, make sure that if you're watching this on YouTube, that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're doing the audio, make sure that you give us a review on whether it's Spotify or Apple. We'd really appreciate that. And quite frankly, that does help. It does matter when you rate things and like things and subscribe to things. It helps us get the word out to more of the industry. And lastly, I have a very special gift for you. Go to MagellanNetwork.net, so one word, MagellanNetwork.net, and I have for you a complimentary membership, 100% gratis, where you can tap into about between 50 and 75 hours of masterclasses, forms, tools, templates, and strategies. So please go ahead and make sure you go ahead and get that claimed. Smash the like button and subscribe. And please go ahead and leave us a review on whatever podcasting platform you're on. And now, let's get to this week's episode.
Hi, it's your Coach Joe Lucas, and welcome to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Here we are, basically in the Ides of March. And, we live in interesting times, don't we? Again, this is nothing political. I operate in a very agnostic way. But what I do want to talk to you about in this episode is the advice I'm giving my personal coaching clients, who are all financial advisors, how to mitigate kind of what's going on, how to take advantage of what's going on, and some different approaches to make sure that you maintain your health, your objectivity, your effectiveness when it comes to yourself, your team, your business, and your client. So first off, I have been, for those of you who've been watching, listening for many years, I've been doing this for over 30 years now, 31 years, give or take. And man, I've seen everything in this game. Like, I'm serious. Like, I've seen, for those, some of you may not remember this, there was a thing back in 1999 called Y2K. And what the premise was that at midnight of 2000, all the computers were going to not work. And companies spend hundreds of millions of dollars to fix something that was probably didn't need to be fixed. But why do I say that? Because it creates uncertainty in people, right? I remember where I was September 11th, 2001, when the towers came down. Again, uncertainty. I remember the fall of 2008 vividly when clients came to me and said, are we going to have a stock market on Monday? When the financial world was just the rest of the economy was okay, but the financial world was absolutely melting down, right? That was probably the only time advisors, I think, were really concerned because, if the government didn't bail it out, everything would have just collapsed. Then I go to March of 2020, 5 years ago, almost literally to the day. When are we going to survive as a society? Right? Like, money was not the on people's minds, not dying was. Now, I tell you all this for a very specific reason. All conditions are temporary. And it may feel super intense. Like, I live in Florida. I've lived in Florida now for about 25 years. And, we have things here called hurricanes. And they all come in different shapes and sizes, just like adversity does. And I can tell you, when you're in the middle of a hurricane, especially if it's a big one, it sucks. And you literally wonder if your home is going to make it through. But then it goes away. And then you got to do cleanup. And then you get on with your life. In most cases. You have a choice as an advisor how you want to approach this game. Case in point. Back in the fall of 2008, I personally observed, I would say 80% of the industry being kind of under their desk, in their bunkers, watching every strand and moment of TV, and not calling their clients, not talking to them, quote unquote, doing their job. And for the 20% that did, massive positive impact in terms of business growth. Let's fast forward to today, this week. Again, if you're watching or listening to this, and again, the 14th of March, 2025, you have a very binary choice. You could either A, get victimized and get into the, oh my God, look what's going on, this sucks, that sucks, they don't know, whatever. And what that will do is give you permission to be mediocre. Oh, there's a recession coming, so therefore my business must suck if there's a recession coming, right? And who knows if it's really coming or not, right? Time will tell. But I'm going to say this here. This is one of my core beliefs I impart on all my clients. Recession or not, pandemics or not, trade wars or not, every advisor creates their own economy. Now, what do I mean by that? In 2020, I had clients to grow their business. We're probably like the only profession in the industry to grow their business in 2020, right? I had clients grow their AUM in the 12 months between 2008, let's say September 2008 to August of 2009. I had clients actually grew their net new money. Why? Because a lot of the rules of the normal economy don't abide here. They don't need to abide here. So if case in point, if you want to get a raise, go get some more clients. Go bring in some new money, right? Like, you're not directly correlated to the economic wins. Yes, the market will go down, and yes, it feels like I call it patching potholes, right? I got a hole, I got to put some AUM in there, I patch it up. I didn't grow, but I'm even, right? It's patching potholes. But when the market inflates again, and it will, you're going to be very happy. But it's a choice. The easiest thing to do is to do nothing. Is to just watch TV, scan the internet, play, kind of money, play your version of Money Manager, if you will, and you'll be a victim. Other option, the one I like, is let's go play in traffic. Let's go remind our clients we're here as a resource. Let's call some of the people that said no to us and see how they feel about a conversation today. Let's remind our COIs that we're here to help people. They need a conversation. Like, let's go serve. See, what I have found that if you make it about you, if a person makes it about themselves, they get what I call internal. You end up in this really dangerous place where you kind of create your own mental bunker and you start seeing the world through a victim. If you decide to play an external game and go help others, so it's not about you. Let me go help others. Let me go help people transfer the money in so we take care of it. We'll do a better job, so on and so forth, right? Let me go help others. When you're external, there's no bunker because you're in the service of others. And when you're external, you're in growth mode. Now, that's the hard one. That requires physical, mental, and emotional energies. The easy thing to do is just be a victim, to get caught up. And again, do I have a crystal ball how this ends? No. But I know it will end. I know it will end, and we'll get back to our cycles. Because if you look at history, and I'm a bit of a historian, you can go back and look at headlines from the last 100 years if you so desire to. They're interesting. It seems like every generation had their version of the world's going to come to an end. And yet here we are, right? So just remember that. We might be in the eye of the hurricane right now, or the eye wall, because the eye is kind of calm, the eye wall of a hurricane. But it's temporary. And what you have in front of you is really a hidden opportunity. Now, why do I say that? Here's my case in point. I have specialized in human behavior my entire career. That's what I do. I haven't specialized in advisors, interesting people. But people are people. And so I've said this for decades, and it's still true today. Great markets hide all faults. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, advisors who allocate money, and that money grows, by and large, the client's happy. If the advisor's not calling the client, checking in with them as much, they might be perturbed. But does it rise to the motivational level of, I'm not happy, I'm going to make a change, I don't feel well cared for? No. I haven't heard from so-and-so. When on my statement, I'm up this month, I'm up this quarter. And that's the way it's been for a couple of years now, right? Think about it. 2 years of 20% market growth by most measurements. So in other words, investors have been kind of fat, dumb, happy. And so if you're trying to get somebody to leave an advisor, unless there was something really egregious going on, or they really weren't meeting their needs, right? If those two things weren't there, chances are they'd be interested in working with you, but they may not be committed with working with you. And so what's happened is that a lot of the new clients that you've been getting have been coming from, like we'll call new people, right? People that are retiring, that are now in the marketplace for an advisor, business owners who are selling their businesses, who are now in the market for advisors. That's where you get a lot of new clients from. However, today, if an advisor is not being proactive, when I say proactive, I'm not like saying we should be yelling fire or this is like, no. Doing the work, making sure our clients feel to a level of certainty we can give them. Talking them off the ledge, or my better case, let's not get them on the ledge to begin with, right? It's a whole different conversation. But if an advisor is not communicating to their client, even if it's just, and you all have done this if you've been at this game any length of time, that sometimes clients just need to hear, hey, we're watching everything. Hey, long-term will be okay. There's a short-term scenario. Sometimes they just need to hear those words come out of your mouth. But if you're not making that call, sending that email, shooting that bomb or loom, or you're not doing those things, or hosting that webinar, what do you think they're doing? They're on their phones. They're on the internet. They're watching the whatever you want to call it, right? And it's freaking them out in most cases. Hi, Coach Joe Lucas here, and I'm just breaking here for a moment just to do a couple quick reminders. Number one, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel or our podcast. In addition, please leave a comment or a review. Those things really, really matter. And share this episode with 3 of your colleagues inside the financial services space. And lastly, make sure that you go ahead and claim your free membership inside of Magellan Network. Now back to this week's episode. Remember this. This is Human Behavior 101. If a client calls you out of the blue because they're very concerned about X, the investments, the economy, the state of the whatever, they didn't just wake up in the morning and go, okay, I got to call. They went through a mental and emotional process of thresholding where I'm a little concerned, and then the next day they get more information, right? It's called the news. Now I'm concerned a little bit more. Then they get up the third day, they get more information called the news, right? Now I'm really concerned. And now on the night of day 3, I don't sleep well because I'm concerned. And on day 4, they get up in what we call an emotional threshold moment / freaky out, and they call you irrationally. If you would have talked to them on day 2, it would have been a 5 to 10 minute conversation. Still energy, but 5 or 10 minute conversation. Now they're calling you, it's a 30-minute conversation, and you got to bring your A game into that to talk them off the ledge. It is way easier and way less energy and effort to kill the monster while it's tiny, while it's just still festering a little bit. By the time it gets full blown, you got to put a lot of energy and you got to unwind a lot of things. It's like I'm in the room, I'm not happy, I move towards the window, I now open the window, I'm really freaked out, I'm going to climb on the ledge now. If you stop them from opening the window, they can't jump. And what most advisors do is they wait for their client to get on the ledge and then they jump into action because now they're a caller. They're a callee, not a caller. If you're taking incoming with people that are concerned, that means you're not doing the right things. You're not being proactive enough. That's the bottom line. That's been my experiences. All right? So I want to share that with you. So number one, take care of our clients. Number two, take care of ourselves. Now, what does that mean? If you play our game in our program, you know that we hold sacred first hour of every morning. We call it our Magellan Power Hour. No technology. That absolutely means no news. Like no news, no email, nothing, right? All the alerts on your phone are off. Your phone's in snooze mode until that hour's over. Okay? Why? Your mind has got to be right in order for you to be effective, and it won't be right if you're drinking from the same pond as your clients. Okay? Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be knowledgeable or know what's going on. I'm not saying that. You just can't internalize it. You just can't. I talk about this every morning when we play our morning game inside of our program, is that, hey, you know what? When in situations like this, I don't know a human being alive that does not want to reach for their phone to see what's going on in the world when they slept. In fact, there's probably a bigger desire to do it now than it was a month ago. No. Wait the hour. Get your mind right. Take care of your mind, take care of your body, rest, recover, eat well. Because the reality is that your outputs are at a higher level. They just are. Because the conversations are going to be a little bit more emotionally charged. Because they are. So take care of you, take care of your clients. Now, opportunity. There's no real great way to say this other than to say it, so I'm just going to blurt it out. We all know the average age of the advisors in our space, right? And so I just don't see in my world, and again, I have exceptions to the rules, but I would say this is probably at least the 80% rule, that if I have an advisor who's going to be retiring in the next 3 to 5 years, which a lot of them are, do I think they're going to sit there and bring their AAA game into the situation? No. I just don't. Because I saw it in 08, 09, they didn't do it. They definitely didn't do it in 2020. So why should they do it now? Remember, the advisor who was highly functional in 07, 08 was still relatively functional at 2020. At 2025, I'm not so sure about that. So why am I saying that? I think this is a golden opportunity to go, I'll use the word because it's just in my head, to go steal clients from other advisors who are not doing their job, who have quiet quit and not told their clients. Remember this, and this was taught to me by Tony Robbins. Cialdini talks about it. No pain, no change. If people aren't in pain, why change? Now, in a good market, an advisor who wants to steal a client, again, this is just a term, you have to find pain points inside of their current advisor relationship. You got to go hunt them. You got to go find them. You got to ask questions about them. By the way, those pain points exist, and those are the same points that are here today, but now there's gasoline on them because they're losing money on top of. So when you have somebody who's, hey, I'm interested in finding out alternatives to, hey, I'm kind of interested in finding out about, who else is out there I can work with, again, interested, right? To, hey, I don't know what's going on. I'm not happy. I haven't heard from my person. I went on my line. I'm down this much money. I'm not hearing anything. I don't know what to do, da-da-da. Well, that's, pain point on gasoline. Now they're committed, not interested in finding something. That's your advantage. That's your opportunity. However, you've got to ignore all the noise around you in order to go ahead and be effective. So, let me wrap this up with a couple of suggestions. If you're dealing with business owners, right? The number one pain point for business owners is taxes. Again, we only want to deal with success. If a business owner is not profitable, there's not much we can do for them as advisors. So I'm talking about successful business owners. Their number one, number two, and number three issues are taxes. Okay? Here's what's going to happen. If they hear the R word called recession, all spending stops. Right? They get scarcity. Boom. I don't want to do anything. I don't retain anybody. I can't afford to do a financial plan, but I got to hoard my capital. Right? You're going to hear that because I'm already hearing it from my clients. You got to triple down on this concept. Hey, if you believe there's a recession coming, that means your margins are going to be under assault. That means we got to be as efficient as possible as a business owner. Don't you think part of that efficiency, we should look at your tax structure and do some advanced tax planning to make sure you're not paying one dime more than you have to the government, considering what's going on? What do you think? Right? Resonates. In other words, you got to take the current situation, use it as the why to get them to take the action. Now, if you're dealing on the W-2 side, retirement rollover, typical stuff like that, it's a different conversation. It's like, hey, last several years, everybody's been really good. The market's been going up. You didn't have to be a great advisor to make your clients money. Well, now it's coming home to roost. So the question you have to ask yourself is, are you absolutely certain you've got the right advisor you're working with? Or should you look at alternatives just to see what else is out there in case that you don't feel like you're being well served? You can definitely do that, right? There's a lot of things you can do, but here's what I'm saying. You want to take the current scenario and current situation and make it the reason why to do things. Why to take the action, not as a rationale not to do something. And again, that requires energy. It's a different conversation. And I think that's really, kind of what I'll communicate to everybody here inside of the show. And while it can be scary at times, especially for some of you younger advisors who are like, what is going on in the world, right? Because maybe you weren't here in 2020. You probably were not here in 2008, 2009. That's when, if you ask me in my entire 31-year career, was there ever a moment where I was like, I wonder if? It was, I don't have the exact date. It may have been October of 2008. I remember Congress had to vote something to appropriate some money to backstop some banks, and they said no the first vote, and the market went down 1,500 points in 5 minutes. And it freaked everybody out. And then they finally got their act together and they got a vote and things stabilized. That was probably the only time I said, I wonder if I have a banking and a financial market come Monday. That's the only time I ever thought about that in my entire adult life. And if you look at the low point, I mean, you guys, some of you guys can do your own research. If you read the headlines, you would be hard pressed to convince yourself, it's a great time to throw cash into the markets because it was just really bad headlines, right? But I'm telling you, if you go back and do it in hindsight and back test it, man, what a great time it was to put the money in the market, right? It just was, if you had stomach for it. So I guess what I'm really trying to say here is you have the power to interpret the current situation the way you want to. You and you alone decide the meaning of things. For some of you, what this means is bad, terrible, victim, blah, blah, blah. And then if that's what you're interpreting, then that becomes your reality and you will behave inside of your reality. If you decide to, while this is not pleasant, there's a ton of opportunity. In fact, the opportunity is greater today to grow the business than it was 90 days ago because more people need help. The fat, dumb, and happiness is gone. Time to get down to things. Then you will behave a certain way. But here's my bottom line, then I'm going to get you guys out of here today. You have to choose which reality you want to exist in. Because I can tell you, if you don't choose the second one, the first one is the default. You don't want the default. Okay? If this conversation resonated with you, here's an offer. We are doing a 30-day freebie inside of my coaching program. Just go to MagellanNetwork.net. You'll see it there. No credit card, nothing. Even if you just hang for the 30 days and let me help you and let my team help you, if that's the worst case scenario and you got some cool vibes from me, I can live with that. But here's the thing. Who you associate with, who you listen to, who influences you, in conditions like this will have a dramatic impact on your success. Okay? So until next week, thanks for watching or listening to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Share this episode with your friends and colleagues in the game. And I'll see you guys again next week.
Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Hey, if any of this resonated with you, I invite you to come to MagellanNetwork.net, and we have a powerful group coaching community of like-minded advisors. Come in for a trial. You and I will have a one-on-one conversation. Let's see if I can help elevate your game both personally and professionally.